everyone, so today's video is going to be all about how I shop and my tips for budgeting and food and being a student and all that sort of stuff. This was actually recently requested on one of my what I ate today videos and I really love the idea, so I thought I would do it today. I actually really enjoy watching sort of like come shopping with me videos, and at first I wasn't really sure how I would do that because I do all my shopping online, so I can't physically, you know, go around a shop with a camera because that's just not what I do. But then recently Naomi Smart posted a video very similar to this about how she shops, and she shops online and she just did it kind of like this. So that's how I've set myself up. I've got my laptop here and I'm gonna just kind of do an online shop how I would normally do it and just share with you guys kind of the things that I do. So the first thing that I do when I'm doing an online shop is to book a slot that is going to be delivered, and the first thing I want to say is I always choose the Flexi Saver slot option if they have it. So this is on Tesco's. It means that there's a 4-hour window that they might deliver your shopping as opposed to a 1-hour window, which is fine by me. I pick a day that I'm going to be at home anyway. It doesn't make any difference and it saves me a few pounds. Also, I ought to mention I do my shop with my boyfriend. We do an online shop once every 2 weeks, and so this food will last us about 2 weeks for 2 people. We may do a top-up shop halfway through the second week if we need a couple more things, like spinach. Usually it's usually fresh things that might have gone bad by then, so we can't buy more of online, otherwise we would because it'd be easier. So this pretty much covers us for 2 weeks. I think one big tip is if you have someone you can do your shopping with, do that. It saves a lot of money if you're cooking meals together because you can make bigger portions and split all the costs. So if you've got a friend or a boyfriend, try out doing your shopping with them because it does save money. Or if not, get your housemates involved on the Tesco shop so they can all order their separate things, but it means you can split the delivery costs. So the way I tend to do my online shop is I've got the app on my phone, and throughout the week I will just add things if I notice that we're running low. So that's usually bulk items that I don't buy every week, so things like oats and rice and pasta. I will just add to the shop as I go, as I run out. So that kind of keeps a running total of things that we're running out of. But then when I'm actually kind of sitting down to add everything onto the shop, I do it basically by breakfast, lunch and dinner, just to make sure that I don't forget anything. So to start with breakfast, my staples are oats, and we're out of oats, so I'm going to add some of them. And I always get the Tesco Value Oats, 75p for a kilogram, absolute bargain, so they are my personal favourites. And then along with that in my porridge I always have frozen berries, which I tend to get every 2 weeks. I'm usually out by then. Tesco used to do a massive 1 kilogram bag of frozen berries for I think about £3 because they were sort of the imperfect berries, and that was my favourite thing to get because it was such a bargain. It was so good. They obviously still tasted the same, they just looked a bit funny, but they seem to have stopped selling that. So I think I'm going to go for this 3 for £5 promotion because I will get through it and it saves a little bit of money. So I'm going to go for a blueberries, a raspberries and a strawberries. The next essential for me is soy milk. I get through a lot of this, well me and my boyfriend get through a lot of this. 6 cartons is usually our staple for every 2 weeks, and again I go for the Tesco Value one. Things like milk can be super expensive, especially if you're vegan and you're going for fancy alternatives, but I personally really like the Tesco Value soy milk. It does the job. I don't think it has a very strong soya taste, which sometimes puts me off, and it's only 59p, so that's really good. Then in terms of Will's breakfast, he usually has Weetabix, and again we go for the Tesco Value one. I think that is one big tip, is don't be sort of snobby about food. Often the Tesco Value is the exact same as the regular food, so why would you not save yourself that little bit of money? So that's one thing that I definitely do. I definitely get a lot of value food. So I'm going to continue adding a few bits and bobs. In terms of fresh food, Tesco has a brand called Redmere Farms, and it's sort of their cheap brand for fresh food. Not really sure how it works, but all of the fresh food that are from that brand are super cheap, so I always get everything from there because it's just so cheap. So I usually get carrots, I get my peppers from there, and also like mushrooms and things. So mushrooms are another big staple for us. And also when I'm looking at things like fresh food, I always make sure I check the weight and like the price against the weight, because often you see something 70p and you're like, oh, that's the cheapest option, I'll get that. but often it's like a smaller weight, so I always go for the smallest like weight to kilogram ratio, which is usually this Redmere Farms brand. So in terms of how I actually shop on the website, like I said, I use the app to add bits and pieces that I'm out of, but also when I'm doing it like this, most of the time I type in the thing that I want and then choose it that way, as opposed to going through everything to get to the thing, mainly just because it stops me buying other things. If I know exactly what I want, I can just type it in and add that thing. If I go through the whole system of going like groceries, fresh food, etc., I'm going to go past a whole bunch of other things that I don't need, and often I will add things that I don't need. So the way I tend to do it is I just type in the things I want. So I guess alongside this, I always know the rough thing that I want to get each week. I have a list on my phone of just recipes that me and Will will eat, so it can remind me when I'm shopping kind of what ingredients I need to get so we can make those recipes. And that's things like chilies and curries and bolognese and all sorts of things. I have a really long list, and then I kind of just go through the list, things I want to make that week or those 2 weeks, and I add the ingredients according to the recipe. Most of the time my food shop looks very similar with staples, so I always have mushrooms, peppers, carrots, spinach, milk. I always have that sort of thing, but then I add different things depending on what we're fancying that week. Also, I don't actually get everything that we eat from Tesco online. We also pick up some things from Iceland in town when we're walking past, because they sell, this is a little life hack to anyone that loves Linda McCartney sausages, their Linda McCartney sausages are always £1.25 or £1, which is cheaper than the £2 that you'd get them from Tesco's. So always get our sausages from there, just because we eat a lot of them. We probably go through about 3 packets or more of Linda McCartney sausages a week, which is quite insane. So we get all that sort of stuff from Iceland. I also make sure that I look at offers and things while I'm on Tesco's, not for things that I'm not looking at buying. I don't just go on offers and scroll through all of them, because then I will 100% buy things because they're on offer and not because I need them. But for example, if I'm getting chicken pieces, these are often on offer for 3 for £4, so I always do that offer because I know that I will definitely need at least 3 of them. Usually I do 2 lots of that offer and get 6 different meat-free things, because again, me and Will get through that quite quickly. I also make sure I look at the offer to see if it's actually a good deal, or if they're like tricking you, you know, where it's like now 99p and it was like £1 before. Always look out for that sort of stuff because they are sneaky. In terms of cans and things like that, I always go for the value option as well, because how different can 2 cans of kidney beans really be? And then also make sure that when you're looking online that you arrange things from low to high, because often you won't even spot things if they're right down the bottom if you just sort it for relevance. So for example, when I'm buying pasta, I always get the 30p pasta, which is like 20p cheaper than regular pasta. Exactly the same thing, no different, so always go for that one. Same with spaghetti, it's literally 20p. It's just insane. And then another thing that I like to do, which saves me money but also is just kind of because I like to do it, is I always like to get one sort of frozen veg, because like I said at the beginning, we run out of fresh food sometimes near the end of the 2 weeks, so having a frozen vegetable in the freezer is just nice to add to meals to make sure that we're getting some vegetables in. So I like green beans, so I will often add them, but they don't seem to have any. I also like frozen broccoli. I mean, obviously I prefer getting the fresh stuff, but just having this in the freezer is really nice, and it just makes creating meals a lot easier near the end of the week, makes it less tempting to order food because I always have food in because there's always something in the freezer. And then I think that is everything. That kind of covers my sort of the way I do my shopping online. It covers the kind of items I get and the little tips and tricks that I do to make sure I get the cheapest products. I'm going to do a proper shop now, and then when it gets delivered I'm going to show you all the things that I got. So my Tesco shop has just come and I'm so excited. There is so much food. I think when I order online I always forget how much food it's actually going to be because you don't see it in like a physical trolley. So there is a lot of food, but this is for 2 people and for 2 weeks. So it definitely, we'll eat it up. It came to about £53 altogether. So our food shop usually averages about £15 each per week, which isn't so bad at all. So I'm going to do a quick overview to show you all of the things that I got. Okay, so I've tried to sort of organise it slightly by what product they are. I mean, there's only so much organisation I could do. But over here, all the bread sort of products that I got. So these are some burger buns because I'm planning on having burgers for dinner. There's 4 different wraps. One of them on the top is the corn, and then the other 3 underneath are wheat wraps. They are for Will's lunches, he will get through them very quickly. I then got 2 garlic breads. These are accidentally vegan, they're only 40p and they're my favourites. I've got 2 of them to put in the freezer. I then got a loaf of just brown bread. I think this was about £1. I also keep this in the freezer just for when I fancy beans on toast or something like that for lunch. Then moving on to like all the fresh produce. So in this bag there is a swede. This is not a normal buy for me, but I wanted to make swede and carrot mash with a roast this week, so that's why I picked that up. Then there is 1 parsnip, also to go with the roast. Then there is an aubergine. I'm going to make some katsu curry with this. And then I think the only other thing in that bag is some potatoes, which I'll probably make roast potatoes or chips with. And then in this bag I've got some oranges. This again isn't a regular buy for me, but I just fancied them this week, so I've just got some of them. I've then got some white onions, which I use in loads of meals, and some bananas. There's 10 in there. We'll get through those very quickly, and if they start going brown I'll make banana bread or I'll freeze them for some smoothies. And then in this bag back here there's 2 lots of peppers. Peppers are an absolute staple for us. We eat them so quickly. Then there's some carrots. Excuse the rustling. They will most certainly also go as a side to the roast, or maybe make some soup with these. And then the final thing in that bag is some sweet potatoes, which I will probably make sweet potato soup with. And then moving on to these 2 bags, there's some spinach. Again, another staple for us. And then there's some mushrooms. These are actually substituted. Usually I get the cheaper ones in this, but you know, I'm not going to complain. And then in this bag there is 2 lots of apples. So now moving on to my frozen bits, there were a few substitutions and a few things that didn't come for these. But first of all, I got 3 lots of these vegetable fingers. These are again for Will. He has these for lunch pretty much every day. I don't really eat these, but got 3 packets of them. I then got these corn hot and spicy burgers. These aren't really a regular thing for us, but I just thought I fancied trying them out. So we're gonna have burgers with these at some point with those burger buns that I got. And there's 4 in this pack and they are vegan. So there's the 2 other vegetable fingers there. Then I've got some frozen broccoli. I got this because we often have meals where we've run out of veg at the end of the week, and I feel like broccoli is such a versatile one. I can put them in most meals. So this is mainly for when we've run out of veg, and I can just put these either in pasta or with a roast or anything like that. And then the final frozen bits were these chicken pieces, which they've actually changed the packet for, which is a bit interesting. But they are still vegan. These are our favourite chicken pieces. We are obsessed with these. We put them in everything. So I probably should have got more than 2 of these, but still very excited to have them. And we also ordered some veggie mince, but that didn't come, unfortunately, because that is another staple for us. I love making chilies and bolognese with that, so I will have to pick some of that up somewhere else. Then a couple of other fridge things. I've got this vegan butter because we were out of it. This is my favourite. I've also got some vegan yogurts. I prefer the Alpro ones, but they weren't on offer, so I went for the Free From peach flavoured. And I think that is all of the chilled and frozen food. So now moving on to everything else. A lot of soy milk. This isn't even all of it. You can see a couple back there. We get through this very quickly. It's so cheap, so I just like to stock up. It's nice having it in the cupboard so you never run out. So I actually got 8 of these this week. And then a few other staples of ours. Porridge oats. I love having porridge for breakfast, and I was out. Also got some basmati rice because we'd run out of that. And then a lot of pasta. This pasta is only 30p a packet, so I got 3 of them. And then also a spaghetti there as well. And then moving on to the other items like cans. Got 4 cans of beans. These are my favourite. They used to sell them in a pack of 4, but I couldn't see that on the website, so I just got 4 individual cans. I then got some chickpeas, I got some coconut milk, and then there's some kidney beans back there as well. And then underneath that chickpea there is some peanut butter, which I'm obsessed with. I love putting this on toast. And then there's also some jam back there as well, which I put on my porridge most mornings. I then got a couple of things of just the cheap Tesco value passata. I put this in loads of foods, pasta sauces, curries, chilies, whatever. Love this stuff, and it's only 35p a carton. And then I got 2 fajita seasonings. This is my favourite one, the smoky flavoured. So obviously I will use these for fajitas. And then I got some garlic powder. I prefer garlic granules, but they had substituted, so this will do. And then the final thing I got was some pickled onions, which is a little bit of a random one. And I know that not everyone is a fan, but I absolutely love pickled onions. I love having these with roast dinners. I honestly could just eat a jar of them, which is a little bit gross, but I love them, so I just thought I'd pick up some. They're only like 80p, so that's kind of my little treat for this week. I know pickled onions are a bit of a weird treat. And then that is absolutely everything. So like I said, this is a little bit bigger than normal. This will still last us about 2 weeks, and we'll do another online shop for 2 weeks time. We might have to do a top-up shop next week for a few little bits, mostly just fresh stuff like spinach and peppers. But other than that, this will feed 2 people for 2 weeks at about £15 each per week. I have just finished putting away all of my shopping, and I'm so excited for the next 2 weeks. The day that I get a shop delivered is always like the best day because I have like all of the choice of what I want to eat. But yeah, that is pretty much the end of this video. I hope this was interesting to some of you guys. Thank you so much to the girl that requested it. I'm really sorry that I can't remember your name, but thank you so much. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you got some budgeting tips or just some idea of how I shop. I don't know, it might have been really boring for most of you, but there you go. If you want to see more food videos from me, let me know what you want to see in a comment down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!